Pittsburgh Steelers defeat the New York Giants 24-14. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Take the Pittsburgh Steelers defeat the New York Giants 24-14 in what was a pretty entertaining intra-conference matchup between two teams that appeared to be headed for the playoffs. I mean, we still have a good amount of the season to go, a quarter of the season to be exact. But you have the feeling that both these teams will be in the playoffs, and both these teams are teams where they're definitely not going to be favorites to go to the Super Bowl, but they can certainly do that. They have two quarterbacks that have done that before. Hell, they've done it twice, and they can certainly do it again. Ben Roethlisberger won the matchup of the quarterbacks today as he had 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and threw the ball pretty well today. He was in control of this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, and it's a little odd. This Steelers team, they're changing mid-season, and you have to give Mike Tomlin some credit for that. They've turned into a more defensive team. That's what it appears like. I mean, right now, they're running the ball a little bit more. Their defense is playing a lot better. And I understand the last 2 weeks they faced the Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts led by Scott Tolzien. But today, they really limited this Giants team, which again isn't a great offensive team, but it was pretty impressive. You saw some players play well, Javon Hargrave. You saw Ross Cockrell slow down Odell Beckham somewhat. You saw William Gay slow down Sterling Shepard a good amount. And all of a sudden, you're looking at the Steelers defense and you're like, hey, wait a minute, there is a pulse over there, and maybe they're good. And if the offense can be consistent, if they can consistently start to play well, then this Pittsburgh Steelers team, you have to thrust them back into the conversation for the AFC. Currently, we have the New England Patriots and the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. In that discussion, the Steelers are saying, hey, wait a minute, I understand we were 4-5 3 weeks ago, but congratulations to us. Now we are 7-5. Next week, we have a big game in which we probably could win in Buffalo, while the Ravens have to face the New England Patriots in New England. We could be in sole possession of the AFC North next week. Okay, so this Steelers team, they're still very much alive, and I picked them to go to the Super Bowl before the season. Am I sticking to that? Not necessarily, but it's nice to see that there's still a chance of that happening for my sake. We look at the New York Giants. Okay, this is a team that I picked to win the NFC East, and they're obviously not going to do that now. They're now 3 games behind the Dallas Cowboys with 4 weeks remaining. It's just not happening. But I still project this team to make the playoffs. But this is the interesting thing with this football team. It reminds me of the New York Giants of old in that their offense is just so inconsistent. They're just not good. I mean, let's just call it what it is. This offense is not good. Odell Beckham can only do so much. Sterling Shepard, I understand he's a rookie out of Oklahoma, but man, this guy completely disappears, fails to make an impact week after week after week. Last week, I think he actually had a pretty good game, but I mean, outside of that and outside of his beginning of the season, man, he's just been, I don't know where he's been, to be honest with you. You're talking about losers like Will Tye and the rest of this receiving and tight end core. They don't do anything, and it just hinders this Giants offense. I will credit Eli Manning for this. He hasn't been turning the ball over too much this season, although today he did have 2 interceptions. But man, this offense just isn't good. They're trying to get Paul Perkins involved more in the run game. He actually had some nice burst and speed today. Maybe he does give you something a little more dynamic and just straight up better than Rashad Jennings. But I just don't buy that the Giants are going to, find the fire and the spark and they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl like they've done in the past. I don't think this offense is good enough. Defensively, they're actually pretty good. I mean, holding the Steelers to 24 in their own building is quite commendable. Will you win? I'm not sure. It's about, you have to try to, hold them to less than that. It's an okay number. It's not bad. But with the way this offense is playing, oh yeah, you need to hold them to less than that because their offense just is not playing well. Olivier Vernon, he showed up today. I mean, I'm very critical of Olivier Vernon. I have been since they signed him to that huge deal. In fact, I have been even before then because, he's a guy that's very good against the run. I mean, this guy's a superb defensive end against the run, but he doesn't get many sacks. Okay, and Pro Football Focus and the nerds over there can tell you that, he has all of these quarterback hits and all of these pressures. You got to get sacks. Sacks kill drives. Remember that. It's one of the most important things in the NFL. But he doesn't get sacks. Today, though, he got sacks. He had at least 2. Maybe he had one more that I didn't see, but I know he had at least 2, and he's starting to come alive, and this pass rush is starting to come alive. We saw Jason Pierre-Paul have about 3 sacks last week, so now they're starting to get after the quarterback. This defense is playing quite well. Landon Collins, we know about him. He's gotten like 6 interceptions this season. Today, he did let up a touchdown, but hey, this guy's been playing great. We can't criticize him too much today. He's been playing great all season. So this Giants defense, they're legit. But this Giants offense, And next week, they have to host the Dallas Cowboys. And will I pick them to win that game? I might, actually. But the question is, can you score on this Cowboys defense? Which you may say, oh yeah, we can. That Cowboys defense isn't good at all. But wait a minute. They held the Vikings to 15 points in their own building. This Cowboys team is 11-1 for a number of reasons. One of which is their defense is pretty good. They had one bad game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but outside of that, their defense has been pretty good. So don't doubt this Dallas Cowboys defense because I think they're going to limit you. I really do. I think you're going to struggle, and I'm not sure I'm going to pick you guys to win that game. I think the Cowboys are due for a loss, and I think that's your main hope here. But man, I don't know. We'll see what happens in that game. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I still project this team to win the AFC North. I almost said AFC South, to win the AFC North, although they would win that division if they were in it as well. You're talking about, I believe, needing to go 9-7. I think you'll get in. If you go 10-6, definitely. And you have 2 games coming up, in which you go to Buffalo and you go to Cincinnati, win 1. Okay, and then after that, you have 2 games, home games. I think you... Actually, let me check the schedule. I think you actually host the Browns, and then you host the Bengals, or something ridiculous like that. I'll check the schedule real quick, and here it is. Yeah, so you guys go to the Buffalo Bills, guys go to the Cincinnati Bengals, host the Baltimore Ravens, and then host the Cleveland Browns. We're talking about 3 divisional matchups to end your season. Win 1 of the next 2, and then win your last 2 as you host the Ravens and you host the Cleveland Browns. I see no reason why you can't do that. Okay, the Bills, the Bengals, under 500 teams right now. You're talking about the Ravens, who are, okay, they're tough. I will give you that. They absolutely blew out the Dolphins today, but I think you can beat them in your own building and split with them this year. And then hosting the Cleveland Browns, yeah, you'll beat them. So you're talking about, to me, not 10-6. I'm projecting 10-6 AFC North champions for the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the New York Giants. Let's look ahead to their last 4 games. And they should be fine in terms of the playoffs. Again, I'm still projecting them to make the playoffs. They host the Dallas Cowboys next week. And initially, like a couple weeks ago, even last week, I thought they could win this. Now I'm leaning loss there. You're talking about hosting the Detroit Lions. That's tough, man. I really thought the Lions were going to lose today in New Orleans, but they got it done. I think it's more of a New Orleans thing than a Lions thing, although the Lions are very impressive. So I think you can win that, I think. And then you guys are talking about going 2 road games, NFC East competitors at Philly and at Washington. So, I mean, there's still some work to be done here. Wow. I'm going to project 10-6 as well. I'm going to project that you defeat the Detroit Lions and you defeat either the Eagles or the Redskins. I can't tell you which one, but there's still work to be done here. The schedule is not as easy as I thought it was, so congratulations on that. The Giants, I still think they'll make it, but it's going to be close. They should be fine, though. When you look at the NFC wild card picture, it's starting to heat up a little bit, though. You have the Bucks and the Falcons now vying for that NFC South. I'll be back later to talk about that more. And that's going to intrigue you, because if one of them loses the division but goes 10-6 for some godly reason or ungodly reason for your sake, you're talking about now possibly missing the wild card at 10-6. So it's very difficult. We'll see what happens as these weeks progress. Again, I think both these teams will make it. I'm more so confident about the Steelers, though, than the Giants. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on this matchup, on this game. What are yours? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out.